Hey guys, it's Dan with the Corporate Thief Beats. You're watching another beat breakdown. This track is called Finer Things. It's very similar to the fantasy beat that I created before. I kind of created a bunch of beats with that MMG sound. I was very inspired at that time about the Justice League and the way they create beats for Rick Ross and MMG. And these kind of sounds are these kind of beats are very instrumentation based. But they do have kind of common traits, and they do kind of have kind of similar moods and melodies and instruments. And I'm going to go through each of these sections of these songs and kind of show you how I created the beat. And I'll break down each instrument as well and show you the kind of MIDI notes and stuff that I kind of put into the beat. So we'll just start with the intro. I'll let you hear the intro first. Okay. And I'll pause it there. Okay, so we heard the intro. And let me see now. We're gonna start with the piano. I'm gonna show you the chords. And again, just like the fantasy beat in the last kind of beat breakdown, it's just some basic chords. But it's the way they change in the mix that gives it that kind of sound. So we'll just kind of highlight that section. So you can kind of hear that kind of way that they kind of come in that section of the song. So there's all the velocities. You can see the way like I've kind of played it, and they're kind of very kind of spaced out, but kind of similar at the same time. I've kind of tweaked them just a little bit to kind of keep them all kind of in a certain way to play on that kind of beat every single time. Okay, that's the piano. And I have a melody that comes in with that as well. Wait, before I click that melody, I'm just going to show you the other piano that kind of plays with it. Again, I'm just using an organ sound that kind of beef up my piano. So you just hear that organ in the background. It doesn't really take anything away from the kind of piano, the original piano. The piano still glistens in the song. It just kind of adds air to the song. It adds that kind of a pad effect that you hear in most songs, but it's kind of not taking away from the piano. And it's playing the same notes as the piano in the first place. So what it really does in the song is, because these kind of songs are kind of jazz kind of influenced, like the ones that the Justice League kind of play, are kind of soul music. It really does give that kind of jazzy kind of lounge kind of music feel to it, especially when the kind of melody comes in and the rest of the instrumentation. And that's not anything special. Again, it's just a very simple little melody. I'm kind of going up and down the scale. It's a very simple little melody. I'm not kind of complicating the song. I think another one comes in after this. It plays a different section of that melody. It's the same piano, it's just playing a different section. I just kind of wanted to isolate them so I could drop them in and out. See, what both of those are doing now is that one is kind of going up and down, or kind of going up, down, and up in the scale of the piano, and this melody is just kind of continuously going down. So it's going up and then down, and then it goes down again. and it just kind of adds a different effect. It just kind of ends the whole kind of section of the intro. And then I kind of bring those strings in again, like the fantasy beat. Strings are just copying the pianos. And what the strings are actually doing is they're creating the pad effect similar to the kind of organ sound. And just like I did in the fantasy beat, this track, The Finer Things, has that kind of bass riff just before we come into the verse. It just has a little kind of lick that plays it. So basically all I did was just cut off. There's two sections in the verse, and all I did to create that little lick is the end of the second part of that bass. So I'll just show you what I mean here. So we'll just let the bass play on. That's the first part of the bass in the verse. And this is the kind of, again, the meat and potatoes of the song again, the drums and the bass. I kind of just think just have to go so well together. I kind of just play all them now again. Play that again, that whole section. Sorry, so you can hear it. So that bass is a little bit more quantized. Even though I played it on the MIDI keyboard, I kind of had to kind of keep it very rigid because it has to kind of fit into the grooves of the drums and the piano. I don't really like doing that quantization on stuff, but sometimes you kind of have to kind of meet the criteria of the song. So I'm just going to play the second section of that bass. So sorry guys, I'll hide that section here. Move this up. So we're playing this section here where the arrow is. And there's that lick there at the end. So it plays a different section. So that one is different to this one. Then it kind of does that throughout the song. And it just adds a nice effect to the song. It gives a change up, and you understand it better when you hear all the sounds together. So I'll just play the drums now. I'll kick in the drums, and you can hear what I mean with the bass. I'll just play that section. Yeah, I'll actually play both of them so you can kind of hear what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm on solo everything. Okay, you can kind of hear what the bass is doing there. And we'll just kind of go through the drums and see what they sound like individually. So I'm just going to unmute those and play the drums solo. So again, the kick kind of sounds very basic without anything in it. A lot of the drums I use are from the producer's choice. I kind of use them all the time. I'll leave links in the description in the blog post and underneath the video for anyone that wants to get those drums. It's the same kick, two kicks that I used in the last video. You can hear the different sounds of them. And they kind of just sound kind of robotic and kind of bland without the kind of rest of the stuff in there. Two snares there kind of hitting on the two snares there, two snares there. They're two different snares and they kind of have two different sounds. It's kind of a very weak snare, but you understand what I'm trying. It's just kind of a very kind of high snare. It's kind of a very messy kind of snare. But it has a very real kind of drum room sound. I kind of busted out to some kind of reverb as well. And I have some rides playing there and some open hi-hats there. And they just kind of give it a stereo feel. They give it that warm kind of open sound. They give it a more kind of natural kind of structure. Again, you can hear with the tricks that I do where I cut stuff off just before I'm changing it up. So you can hear that there's hi-hats coming in here, and I've kind of removed the rides, and I'll show you play all that together in a second. And that just kind of gives it a more kind of boom bap kind of sound. And kind of come into these now and play all these together. It kind of has a more boom bap kind of sound, and it kind of has, it just changes it up from what it was sounding like in the previous verse. I'll play it all together so you can kind of hear what I mean. It's just, even though the same kind of stuff is playing again, it has just a little bit of a variation. And I think the little kind of piano melody coming back in again in that section kind of just changes it up too. It's just kind of simple melody. And then that's the kind of second section of that melody as well. Very, very, very elegant piano. Simple piano melody, but it just sounds really nice. It sounds very kind of, I don't know, it kind of has that really nice room feel to it. I think it's a reverb, one of special reverb it's one of the plate reverbs. I think it's the R&B plate in Logic. That's one of my favorite kind of plate reverbs in it. I just feel like I kind of get that stereo feel that I'm looking for. So I kind of break, this is kind of still the verse. So that's the first part of the verse, and this is the second part of the verse. And here I've taken out the drums and just left the instrumentation play before they kind of hit the chorus. Okay. And again, I kind of use that bass riff to kind of let us jump into the chorus. And the chorus is just kind of simple again. Chorus isn't overcomplicated again. I kind of added some brass to kind of beef it up. Kind of bring in the strings, bring in the piano. It's kind of the same kind of thing again, but you just kind of hear an extra kind of section to it. And then there's kind of guitars that play after it. I'll just play what it sounds like first. So the kind of, and they're kind of just very kind of simple chords, kind of playing the chords to they're not playing complete chords. They're kind of just, I kind of didn't want it overbearing, because I kind of felt it was sounding a bit too synthesized. It didn't really sound as kind of, it's a bit synthesized, but it's adding an effect in the song for the chorus to come in. And it's just adding an extra section to it. And I'll just play it all together so you hear what it sounds like. And then like the guitars kind of come in here as well at this section. and they're kind of playing the melody of the piano. And it just kind of, instead of having the piano melody play again, I just got these guitars to play it instead, and they kind of end the chorus in a nice way. And it just goes back into the verse again, and then it kind of just plays the chorus again, and so it's kind of the same thing again, except for this kind of middle 8 where I kind of just kind of play out this kind of section here. So it's just the kind of strings there. And it just goes back into another verse, and then it goes back into a chorus, and it kind of ends the same way as the fantasy beat, where it kind of quietens down at the end. And that's the end of the song. Any kind of links, if you want to get the beat or anything like that, will be in the description. The drums I use are predominantly producer's choice, or some kind of kits that I've kind of traded online with other people, other producers. But most often than not, it's kind of from one of the kits that I use from producer's choice. All the kind of sounds are from either Salient, or they're from Massive, or Logic, and they're the kind of sounds that I use in the beat. And it's a kind of a simple beat, but it does have that kind of MMG feel again, like the fantasy beat. It has that kind of smooth, jazzy kind of feel, and it's not that hard to create. It's just small little elements, and I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. If there's any questions, leave them in the description. If you think that I should kind of improve on any way on creating the tutorial, or if I'm not explaining it well enough, or if I'm going too fast, please leave it a comment or on the thing. But just don't forget to subscribe so you can watch more beat tutorials like this. Take care, guys.